Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I welcome all of you back to another Chris Chan article. We're going through his stresses section. I was supposed to have made quite a lot more today, but to be honest, for reasons I don't necessarily want to get into here, I've been somewhat distracted by some rather disheartening news. But as supposing to, dealing with it, we're just going to focus on the task at hand. So with that being said, jerks. And nothing, listen, in spite of what happened, and don't worry guys, I'm fine. It's just sometimes I've just got to keep doing this. I've just got to keep reminding myself of some things. So, jerks. Well, I do not like the majority of the male population, regardless. What you mean, regardless if there are actual nice people out there and would be friends to Chris if he wasn't such a self-centered prick. The straight ones take the women away. The damn homo males not only tried to push their gross ways onto me, but have emotionally and mentally devastated me in their shit, troll/cyberbully ways, and they have mislabeled me and sonneted you as such. Damn males piss me the hell off. I'm pretty sure gay people have got much better things to do with their time than to annoy Chris. I'm just saying. Jerk is Chris's term for men in general, including those who are not black, homos, or jerk-offs. The canonical definition is a man other than myself, Quick, and my father, Robert Franklin Janlet Jr. For example, Chris labeled every single one of his male MySpace friends as a jerk in his personal list. A few respectable males are apparently exempt from jerk status, such as George W. Bush and Barack Obama, and possibly Jack Black. One reason is the infinitely high boyfriend factor. The less said about that, the better. Believe me. In more recent years, he's taken to using the word male in the place of jerk to express his disdain for other men. His recent transgender antics also suggest that he has a lot of self-hatred about being male. Just because, I'll get into that later. But basically, I'll talk about it now actually. The reason why is because Chris seems to think that, being a woman means that he'll get literally all the pussy he can, and it's the only safest way to admit that he's actually gay and, not have to admit, because he doesn't like, males, but he would prefer to be a woman and be gay that way, so that, he could, he sees it as like a win-win situation, despite the fact that, everything about Chris's very off-putting personality, his narcissism, his ego, his homophobia, his misogynistic ways, his ways to not learn anything regarding, taste, health, or, personal space, or the fact that he can actually sustain himself and, hold down a job, which if he couldn't do that for more than 3 months, I doubt that he could possibly do it now. There's a lot of reasons why, yeah. Notice how Chris refrained from asking any jerks, including himself. Christian Weston Chandler, 8th of the 9th, 1998. Getting acquainted. Use as a denominator. Although he has defined the term jerk to mean all men save him and his father, the usage of the term seems to apply to any person who gets in the way of Chris doing something that he wants to do. If Chris wants China and can't get it because of the object of his affection has a significant other, that significant other is a jerk. Irrespective of who or whatever. Chris wanted to win the Chop Chop Master Onions Rap Showdown, but Adam Stackhouse got in the way, therefore he is a jerk. Allegedly because he broke the rules of the contest and used music. Actually because he spoiled Chris's plans for sex with Megan Schroeder. Whether your intention was to obstruct Chris's efforts or not, you are a jerk for presenting a barrier to his goal. Even being more talented than Chris, or more socially well-adjusted, no great feat considering Chris, is enough to make one a jerk in Chris's eyes. Men with girlfriends did not specifically intend to cockblock Chris. They only did what well-adjusted people do, considering Chris, and asked out a girl they liked. Adam Stackhouse simply made a good video for a competition he wanted to win, and had no intention of thwarting an autistic's plan to seduce his best friend. Again, the Parappa showdown. In Chris's self-centered way of thinking, though, they were all out to get him. Use as a prefix/suffix. Chris derides certain professions by using jerk as a prefix, as with jerk-up, or as a suffix, as with manajerk. The addition of the prefix-suffix comes from their actions, which again prevented Chris from getting what he wanted. Never mind the fact that managers and police officers are simply doing their job when they stop creepy patrons from soliciting members of the public for sex. They have obstructed his quest for China, and so are jerks. Due to repeated encounters with these professions, Chris has taken to describing any member of their ranks as a jerk. Varying usage. Despite the fact that Chris has openly declared that all men are jerks, in practice he doesn't seem to automatically apply the term to every man that he meets. Robert Simmons V was held in some regard before he turned troll against Chris. Joseph Herring was considered a high school friend, although Chris drew him as an ugly, zit-scarred freak in his comic. Chris considered Joshua Martinez a friend, though he still tried to get to ED to ruin him, as long as he thought Josh would help him score some China. John Schroeder, Megan's brother, was even the main character in one of Chris's fake video games. Once again, however, that was probably a side effect of Chris's lust for Megan. It probably was. I wouldn't hold it past him. Chris as the embodiment of jerk. Wiktionary defines a jerk as a person with unlikable or obnoxious qualities and behavior, typically mean, self-centered, or disagreeable, and not often very intelligent. Does that remind you of anyone? Ironically, or perhaps better put, hypocritically, Chris's actions make him more deserving of the term jerk than most people he applies it to. The list of males Chris doesn't hate. The most recent version of the list of males Chris does not hate was presented in Chris's annotations to his ED article. There it goes as follows. Chris himself, he ranks himself at the very top of the list. His father, Santa Claus, Jesus, God, the former president of the United States. Does that include Donald Trump? Or does that include, Reagan and, people who were not particularly very well liked? Does it go the same for them as well? All the world leaders. Oh boy, oh boy. All male acquaintances and friends, past and present. That's putting it a little bit... You're going to have to be a little bit more specific here, Chris, because I don't particularly know what that technically limits it to or what it does not include. However, in the same annotations, Chris confusingly states that his noviophobia is out of date. He goes on to say that he only hates trolls and da-haters now, but also states that he is cool with the hating 99% of world's men theory. In any case, the list is at least applicable to some point in Chris's biography, even if he got over it. Wow, indeed. And believe it or not, ladies and gentlemen, that is technically the end of the article about jerks. However, that is far from the end about technically what I wanted to talk about. So, what's very, very interesting about when you read an article like this, and you read how somebody could be so petty and vindictive, believing that just because other people do better than you, or just because some other people just straight up decided that, they can get a girlfriend in that. Chris will at no point or has ever considered this at all in any reality, that if he had tried anything different, if he tried to do anything that, he didn't do before, and it didn't work, then goodness knows what, he'll go back to his bad habits. And you know what, you want to know something very interesting from what I've come to realize about this article? is that supposedly that just suppose that when Chris was talking about Liquid during the Liquid Chris saga, he mentions that other Chris could get a girlfriend like that. May I remind you, Chris, it's not just the fact that your outlook on, you know, other males is an issue. It's your outlook towards women who are attracted to to jerks. Your attitude, Chris, is absolutely nothing but, if they even so much do anything remotely better, or they're in a better position, well, according to what Chris defines as a better position, he will immediately put them under his radar. That's something that's something I always kind of like found strange when it comes to Chris, is that he will always point fingers. He will always blame others, even for things that are absolutely not other people's fault. Sonic Boom, advising people to cut themselves open. There are millions of there are half dozen examples right there. The financial crisis. Chris, if he had any common sense, literally from the very, I'd imagine that, you know, getting into thousands of dollars of debt is exactly what happens when you decide to, you know, spend your entire life not even bothering to try to look for work or try to make yourself better, because you wouldn't have to resort to being a locale on the internet, and your reputation was tarnished anyway. And you really think you're going to get work after somebody looks you up or anything like that? Now, with that being said, just because, you know, you get yourself into debt doesn't mean you should be permitted to make things worse. And I wonder if Chris has ever actually, you know, called himself a jerk before, because he's called himself a troll before, but I don't think he's ever called himself a jerk, because, I don't know, it's probably his third least favourite word for all we know. And yet, just, how the fuck can somebody be this it hurts my brain sometimes that somebody just is just this fucking stupid. I don't get it. I honestly don't. Well, at least I can take some kind of comfort out of this and say that, well, if you don't want to be like Chris, then don't be like him. That's usually my take on a lot of these, but that's especially in this case. So anyway, I hope you guys have enjoyed this article, and I will hope so of you guys again in the next video. Take care. Bye-bye for now.